Coming up on NCC News at 4:45, we are in a lake effect snow advisory. I'll tell you when the snow will start and how much snow we'll get coming up.
New reports that millennial driving habits were released this morning, and it doesn't bode well for them.
And finally, town hall meetings may be coming to CNY. We'll give you reactions from local politicians as pressure mounts for a resolution.
Good afternoon, I'm Jillian Lynch.
And I'm Andrew Morris. Our top story today is an explosion at Arise CNY.
The blast occurred at their main offices on 635 James Street. Fire crews showed up just before 1:30 this afternoon. Arise CNY announced on Twitter that an oxygen tank exploded and that one person was taken to the hospital. No word yet on the person's condition. After lake effect snow this morning, most roads are cleared for the drive home. Here's our list of winter weather updates. Centro is operating on a 20-minute delay due to weather. A crash this morning shut down Route 20 near Senate, but it reopened 2 hours ago and was given the all clear for travel. And finally, a lake effect snow warning is issued for the following counties through 7 p.m. tomorrow evening.
And following those advisories, we have NCC News reporter Marissa McBride live in studio to tell us about New York State's proposed weather safety changes. Marissa.
Thanks, guys. Dealing with upstate New York's climate can be a pain, especially during the winter season. Constant snow and sleet interrupts commutes and daily schedules. But if you don't include this new step in your pre-travel routine, you could be fined. A dark and gloomy day on Marshall Street has brought road safety to the minds of both pedestrians and drivers. Under a new proposed law, New York State drivers could be fined at least $150 if there are 3 or more inches of snow or ice on the roof or trunk of their car. If the driver gets in an accident with that snow on their car, the fine could be up to $1,200. SU students Colin Brown and Emily Challen have personal experiences with the problem that this law is trying to fix.
That's probably a good idea, actually, because I know sometimes, especially with high-speed driving, so like if you're out on 81 or just on any highway at all, the wind will blow huge pieces of snow, especially off of tractor-trailers, and then if they hit your windshield, you can't see, and if it's heavy enough, it might be able to break your windshield or something, so.
Definitely had, like, snow fall on my windshield while someone else in front of me has been driving.
Yeah. And it's a scary experience, right?
Yeah, kind of, because you can't see for, like, those 2 seconds, so.
Yeah. Very dangerous. The proponents of this law, including Long Island Assemblyman Michael Montesano, agree that this law could incentivize drivers to remove snow and make roads safer. Now, none of the state legislators who sponsored this bill are from Syracuse, which is known as the snowiest city in the country. In fact, none of the legislators are even from upstate New York. Similar attempts to pass laws such as this have failed in the past, and the bill has not yet come up for a vote this year. Reporting in studio, I'm Marissa McBride.
In Cayuga County, one person is dead after a 4-car collision in the town of Senate. The crash occurred just before 8 a.m. this morning on Route 20. The New York State Police announced that 3 others were injured and a 5th person involved in the crash is unharmed. The people involved in the crash have not been identified, and Route 20 is still closed between Walker and Town Hall roads. The cause of the accident is being investigated. And a new AAA study says drivers ages 19 to 24 are the most reckless on the road. NCC's Taryn Varicchio has more on the risky behaviors of millennials behind the wheel. Taryn.
That's right, Andrew. AAA recently surveyed over 2,500 drivers ages 16 and over. Turns out 88% of millennials are guilty of at least one risky behavior while driving. A young driver herself, Sally Rubin, reminds her friends to drive safely.
I'm really big on put my phone away while I drive, but I do see my friends do it a lot. And I'm usually excuse me, precious cargo, please don't kill me in the car.
But not all millennials are like Sally. AAA says 88% of drivers aged 19 to 24 have admitted to driving unsafely behind the wheel. Texting, speeding, and running red lights. That's why millennials have been named the most reckless drivers. AAA sales manager Harris Kerr says these drivers are taking unnecessary risks on the road.
We are seeing individuals going through red lights just after the light turns red. when they could have safely hit the brakes and approached the light long before the light turned red.
In just 2015, there was over a 7% increase in deaths on the road. Officials say that's the highest single-year jump in 5 decades. And Syracuse resident Harry Freeman Jones says he isn't surprised drivers from the tech age are involved.
Young people who have grown up with technology, that definitely, I think, leads to more distraction.
Kerr says it is especially important to stay alert during lake effect season. He says drivers should keep extra distance between cars, avoid pressing the brakes too hard, and slow down before all traffic lights. With weather advisories taking effect tonight into tomorrow evening, all drivers, including millennials, should be especially careful on the roads and take the precautions advised by AAA. Reporting live from University Avenue, I'm Taryn Baricchio for NCC News.
The driver in a hit-and-run accident in Syracuse Tuesday evening has pleaded not guilty this morning. 55-year-old James Drevek pleaded not guilty to DWI, leaving the scene of a serious personal injury crash and vehicular assault in Syracuse City Court. He faces these charges after a 15-year-old boy suffered multiple injuries when hit by a car on Bear Street. Drevek is being held on bail and is due back in court for a preliminary hearing this Friday. For the first time in nearly a decade, more than 40,000 people have died in motor vehicle crashes in a single year. According to preliminary estimates by the National Safety Council, traffic deaths increased by 6% last year after increasing 7% in 2015. It's the most deaths due to car accidents since 2007.
Consultants reviewing the condition of I-81 will not be done until this summer. The project costs $2 million and will give the city all the options for replacing the current highway. Now, the state is currently considering multiple ways to improve the road, including tearing down and rebuilding the structure or constructing a tunnel. And Congressman John Katko is facing criticism for not holding open town hall meetings. And the CNY Solidarity Group is the group who is criticizing Katko. Members on both sides of the issue say they think Katko will lose support at the polls in the future if he continues to not hold town hall meetings. But Katko says he won't get in front of a camera with several hundred angry people who will not give him a chance to talk. Syracuse resident Kelly Ward says Katko should be open to the meetings, even if he has to lay down parameters to keep it from becoming a shouting match.
I think there's concerned citizens who voted for this administration who now feel like they would like to meet with him.
Another local politician has come to the forefront in the criticism of the consensus report. Green Party Chairman and mayoral candidate Howie Hawkins joined current Mayor Stephanie Miner in the backlash against the consensus report, which aims to consolidate the Syracuse City and Onondaga County governments into one metropolitan one.
A Central New York pharmacy chain is taking steps to screen for flu and strep throat infections. Kinney Drugs announced it will pilot in-store clinics for pharmacists to perform quick tests on patients for strep throat and flu-like symptoms. The services are available to patients 13 and older with no appointment necessary. And Downtown Dining Week starts today in Syracuse. The 13th annual event will have a record high 32 restaurants participating this year. All restaurants have 3-course meals for $25 or less. The event was created to bring people out to eat in February, usually a slower month. The Downtown Dining Weeks see about 50,000 people each year. Modern Malt's chef Anthony Donofrio says he looks forward to this week every year.
And it brings a lot of people downtown and gives us all a chance to do something a little bit different from our typical menu.
Trump has stated he has
Coming up, Defense Secretary James Mattis reveals President Donald Trump's ambitions with NATO. And later, NCC News weather anchor Lauren Anderson will have an update on the lake effect snow coming to CNY tonight.
Welcome back. President Trump pushing for a peace deal between Israel and Palestine today as our top story from around the nation. President Trump asking Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to hold off on constructing West Bank settlements. Trump welcomed the Israeli minister at the White House today for the first time since his inauguration. It's a shift away from tensions with Israel and the former Obama administration. At a news conference with the two leaders, President Trump asked for flexibility between both Israel and Palestine to achieve a peace deal.
As far as settlements, I'd like to see you hold back on settlements for a little bit. We'll work something out, but I would like to see a deal be made. I think a deal will be made.
President Trump's pick for Labor Secretary has withdrawn from consideration. Fast food CEO Andrew Pudster announced today that he won't choose to head the Labor Department. This after concerns about his failure to pay taxes. Senate Republicans were also concerned Pudster would not receive enough votes to be confirmed. And 4 current and former U.S. officials say law enforcement and intelligence agencies intercepted phone records and calls between the two groups. Now, officials say this info was found around the same time as the searches into Russia's hacking to influence last year's election. But those officials add that there's no evidence to suggest that the campaign team was contacting Russia for that purpose. Syracuse professor Thomas Keck drew comparisons to Watergate in these recent events.
When Richard Nixon was elected in 1968 during the Vietnam War, there were allegations that figures in his orbit had reached out to Vietnamese counterparts in an effort to undermine the peace negotiations.
And the U.S. Navy is monitoring a Russian spy ship operating off the coast of Connecticut. Spotted 30 miles off the coast earlier today, a U.S. defense official says the ship is patrolling the area legally in international waters. CBS News reports that the Russian ship is used for general intelligence and was in Cuba before this. Connecticut U.S. Senator Chris Murphy said that while it's not unusual to see this from Russia, he still has concerns due to increasingly close ties to the U.S. And Defense Secretary James Mattis gave an ultimatum today to other NATO nations to boost their defense spending. Secretary Mattis warned these alliance countries that without the promised contributions, the U.S. would rethink its role within the alliance. The statement came behind closed doors with other NATO defense ministers. And following, Secretary Mattis cited the importance of this 28-country alliance.
The alliance remains a fundamental bedrock for the United States and for all the transatlantic community, bonded as we are together.
Another in President Trump's inner circle, Kellyanne Conway may be investigated for telling shoppers to buy Ivanka Trump's fashion line. The federal government's chief ethics director, Walter Schaub Jr., is calling for that and possible disciplinary action to be taken. He joins Jason Chaffetz, leader of the House Oversight Committee, in requests for a look into Conway's actions. This after she supported Ivanka Trump's line on Fox and Friends last week.
Buy Ivanka's stuff is what I would tell. I hate shopping. I'm going to go get some on myself today.
Evacuation orders have been partially lifted for thousands of California residents around the faulty Oroville Dam, but many are still wary to return home. This after workers have been draining water from the nation's largest dam to protect nearby residents from a possible catastrophic emergency spillway failure. The Butte County Sheriff in the area advised those to keep the rapidly changing weather conditions in mind when going back home. Rain is expected to hit there today and may last for a full week. And in Arizona, a new prison protocol was announced that allows lawyers of death row inmates to provide drugs for their clients' lethal injection. Many attorneys have issues with the State Department's of Corrections rule pointing to the illegal methods lawyers would use in obtaining such drugs.
Russia has deployed a cruise missile in an apparent treaty violation. That's our top story from around the world. Tensions with Russia are rising on another front. Moscow has secretly deployed a ground-launched cruise missile, ignoring U.S. complaints that it violates a 1987 treaty. The Obama administration objected to the missile during its testing phase in 2014 and 2015. Russia is also flying aircraft close to U.S. warships. A U.S. Navy ship sailing in the Black Sea encountered 4 Russian aircrafts flying near them at fast speeds and low altitudes. Meanwhile, a woman has been arrested in connection with the death of half-brother of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Police say she holds a Vietnam travel document. Kim Jong-nam was about to fly out of Malaysia when he fell ill at the airport. He died on the way to the hospital after an apparent poisoning. Police say on top of the arrested suspect, they are still looking for a few others. The World Health Organization has declared an end to the yellow fever outbreak that killed about 400 people in Central Africa. The deadly mosquito-spread virus was first seen in 2015. After that, there were 975 confirmed cases in the region. It is now officially under control as there have been no reports of the fever in the past 6 months. North Korea has rejected the UN Security Council's criticism of its weekend missile launch. In Geneva yesterday, the North's ambassador to the United Nations said, quote, "The successful test launch of a medium to long-range missile on February 12th is part of self-defense measures." The Security Council is condemning the launch, saying it's important to keep peace and stability in Northeast Asia. North Korea's missile test was first since President Trump took office.
Up after the break, weather anchor Lauren Anderson gives us the details on what weather to expect for your drive home.
Good evening, I'm Lauren Anderson, and we are in a lake effect snow advisory right now until 7 p.m. tomorrow night. We could see as much as 4 to 8 inches of snow over that time, and the snow could start falling anytime now, which could make for a slippery ride home, so just be careful if you are driving home. The current temperature is 33 degrees with winds west 19 miles an hour, humidity 78%. All right, and here we're looking at our radar here. All this blue, as you see, is the clouds that could bring in the snow to our area. That is what's going to be causing that lake effect snow that we're going to see. And tonight, so this is what it will look like at 11 p.m. tonight. So this is all the snow that's coming into our area. This is what's going to bring us more snow. I know we had a lot earlier in the week, and we will have more 4 to 8 inches tonight. This is the map of tomorrow night at 5 p.m. So you'll see we'll be in a lot heavier snow then. All that blue is even heavier snow, so the majority of it we will get tomorrow. And this is our seasonal snowfall. These are the accumulations of all the snowfall that we've had so far. So Syracuse, if we get 3 more inches of snow, we will be breaking the 100 inches of snow so far this year. So that is a lot of snow. And tonight we have a chance of snow showers, like I mentioned. Lake effect snow advisory, 36 degrees. And tomorrow, snow, and that snow is going to be windy, so that snow will be blowing around 25 degrees. And now we're taking a look at our 5-day forecast. So this afternoon, 25 degrees. Thursday, we're looking at snow and 21 degrees. Friday, you're looking at 20 degrees. Saturday, 35 degrees. And Sunday, 31 degrees.
Thanks, Lauren, for that report. Coming up in sports, Jordan Jennings has an update on Syracuse's odds of making the NCAA tournament.
Where the Orange are at and what they need to do to secure a spot in the big dance. Next on NCC News.
The New York one, the New York Yankees. Spring training, yeah, sorry. Okay. Can I drop my paper on the ground? Will anyone see it? No, it should be fine.
All I do is make you look good. It's the purpose of my entire life.
Thank you.
That'll work, thank you. Good luck there, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Okay.
You got it.
Thanks. Okay, well that's gonna. Good evening, I'm Jordan Jennings with NCC Sports. Although the Syracuse men's basketball team is currently 16-11, their chances of making the NCAA tournament might not be so far-fetched, at least according to an online sports betting guide. The people at Bovada believe that only 20 other teams have a better chance than the men's team of not just making the tournament, but winning the whole thing. Bovada listed the SU men's team's odds 50-1. Looking at some other notable rivals, Duke's odds are 10-1, UNC's 21-1, the Louisville Cardinals 11-1, and the Virginia Cavaliers 18-1. Syracuse Ephesus Lighting is now the go-to company for NFL stadiums. The local business specializes in sports lighting for sports venues. Over the years, the NFL began to phase out old metal halide lights and use LEDs because LEDs are more energy efficient, light up the playing surface more uniformly, can be turned on instantly, and are maintenance-free for years. The company will light up the next 3 Super Bowls, including next year's Super Bowl 52 in Minneapolis. And about 90 miles north of Syracuse, a high school basketball player was late to the game. The preoccupied team was busy saving someone's life. Lucas Patchen was one of the volunteer firefighters sent to rescue a stranded ice fisher. The man decided to go ice fishing on Ontario Lake after a piece of ice broke off on the mainland, leaving him deserted. After saving the man, Patchen rushed to his game, which had not yet started, only to be told that he would have to sit out for his tardiness. Patchen's father says that he hopes the school will reconsider their policy on tardiness for future notice. And that'll do it for NCC Sports. I'm Jordan Jennings.
Coming up, rumor has it that a German Shepherd took home the hardware at the Westminster Dog Show.
We'll tell you which prized pup took home Best in Show next on NCC News.
Adele dominated Adele dominated the Grammys last weekend, taking home 5 awards. And a dog at the Westminster Dog Show, named after one of her hit songs, won the show's top honor.
Rumor, the German Shepherd named after Adele's Rumor Has It, claimed the Best in Show title over 3,000 other canines at Madison Square Garden last night.
And that will do it for all of us here at NCC News. I'm Jillian Lynch.
And I'm Andrew Morris. Thanks for watching.